Hey, it's me, Julian Greystoke. I'm here on the casual couch. Kinshu is here and shouting at me for no reason. As you can see, she's already had her dinner. I don't know why she's yelling. I'm wearing my scarf shirt because today on the casual couch, we're going to talk about, you guessed it, the Lion King movie. The new one, the live-action remake. Because I went to see it earlier today. And at first I was like, ugh, this is just like, what am I going to talk about? I wanted to review, but I don't have enough feelings to do review, but I managed to conjure up some feelings, so. My history with The Lion King, it was my favorite movie when I was a kid. I fucking loved it. As you must have figured out by now if you watch my channel at all, I am an animal lover. Speaking of which, Avi, what do you have? What is, oh, okay, yeah. Avi just stole something and put it into the couch, so yeah. Avi's our ferret, and I am an animal lover, as can be seen by the fact that I'm tolerating whatever Kinshu is doing on my lap right now. I was really into The Lion King, like so much so that when I was a kid, when it came out in theaters, which tells you how fucking old I am, I convinced my parents to let me see it twice, because we didn't really have money to go see movies at all, let alone go see movies twice, but like, that's the level of my love for The Lion King. I also forgot to mention the birthday party where I decided that we should watch The Lion King as one of the activities that we did, and all of my friends were so over The Lion King, but I was not. Obviously. So they all went in the other room and played other party games, I assume, because I was in the living room watching The Lion King. And I didn't give a fuck that none of my friends wanted to watch it with me, because it's my fucking favorite movie. I own it like a couple times on DVD. Obviously, I have seen the stage musical, which I really enjoyed. I have this Scar mask from that. I bought it as a souvenir. It's really cool. It hangs in my living room. So I am into The Lion King, shall we say. So I started seeing previews for the new live-action Lion King, which we all knew was going to happen because Disney is doing what Disney do and trying to, you know, print their own money at this point. And I was like, oh no, it's going to be so bad. And I'm going to have to see it. Because how can I not? As the Lion King fan that I am. It's just like, it was kind of like Detective Pikachu, you know, where you're just like, oh no, I'm going to see it though. I imagine that's how Sonic fans must be feeling right now. So I went to see this thing, and I didn't take any notes, because, like, I'm not that kind of reviewer. I figured we could sit down, and I could just kind of go through the story and just, like, talk about things that come into my head that I remember thinking while I was watching the movie. Does that sound fun? If not, you feel free to click away, because that's what we're gonna do. Hey guys, this is the world's fastest reminder that you can support me on Patreon and see all kinds of exclusive videos like these ones. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. First thing, like, before we, like, start going blow by blow here, that a lot of reviewers have mentioned, because I watched some reviews of this, because I was curious, like, how much should I brace for this terribleness. And a lot of them said that the biggest problem was that it felt like there was no soul because all of the animals were very photorealistic and they were meant to move like animals and emote like animals, which is very subtly with body language and that sort of thing. And so because of that, they just kind of like felt like they were just staring blankly. And I can see that. But it didn't bother me as much as I worried it would, because I'm fairly fluent in animal body language, and I think that helped a lot. So, like, while other people would look at that lion and be like, not getting any emotion, I would be like, well, look at the way that it's carrying its head, and look at the way that it's moving its ears, and look, like, the little eye dart, that means submission, you know, and stuff like that. So I appreciated that stuff more than I think most people would, but I do agree with the critique that is that if you're making a movie for humans, the character should probably have some, like, human attributes. We're not making this movie for lions to appreciate. We're making it for humans to appreciate. So it would be helpful if they emoted in a more human way. Like, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, which is another great underrated movie, he moves like a horse, but he emotes like a human. Like, you can tell his eyes are superhuman and expressive. And so, like, something like that. The eyes could have been a bit bigger, a bit more expressive, the eyebrows more expressive. Somebody mentioned Aslan from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Like that. I didn't feel like it was quite as emotionless as other people felt like. I mean, emotionless, sure, for the reason that it is essentially a shot-for-shot remake, and I am So not into those. Like, I'm not even against Disney necessarily remaking animated things, but I don't like remaking them the same. I don't understand remaking them the same. Well, I do, because, you know, money. But artistically, I don't understand making them the same. Cautiously optimistic for Mulan because it looks like it's gonna be different. And I'm like, this kind of looks like a samurai movie with a Disney twist, and I could be into that. I know samurai, it's Japan. Anyway, I'm getting way off track. This is what happens when I don't have any notes. So let's just talk about the movie. And yeah, the opening was okay. Definitely did not feel as powerful as the original. Just the animation in the original and the way it flowed with the music and everything moved was so good. So stunning. And this just could not hold up with its photorealistic animals and the way that the camera had to move sort of as though it was a real camera. So the beginning, I didn't hate Scar as much as I worried that I would, but I still wasn't impressed. As is clear by my attire, Scar was like one of the very first Disney villains that I fell in love with. He's just so sassy, and I love him. And this Scar was not, like, sarcastic or sassy really at all. He was all ominous. He was all, like, this constant undertone of menace. And I think it was really a detriment to that character because, like, in the animated one, you almost feel like Simba's just an afterthought to Scar. His real goal is to kill Mufasa and also maybe Simba if it works out. And when Simba's like around him, Scar's just kind of like, go away, kid, you bother me. But he's almost tolerant of Simba. He's just kind of like doesn't care about Simba, doesn't see Simba as a threat really. He finds Simba annoying. But this Scar was very focused on kill Simba, Mufasa's old news, let's kill Simba. And as a result, he was like very ominous all the time, even with Simba. And I was like, okay, I know that Simba's supposed to be a dumb kid, but this guy's basically just being like, Simba, I'm going to murder you later, watch out for that, like right in front of him. And I don't buy it, he's too menacing. OG Scar could be menacing, but he could also seem non-threatening and be believable as like an uncle that Simba would enjoy spending time with. Young Simba is adorable, especially when he's like baby Simba and he's kind of floppy and I'm just like, kitty! He's fucking adorable. I think I actually had the most trouble with the lion cubs because they couldn't be as emotive with their mouths because their faces are much smaller. And so, like, I think they were the ones that seemed the most blank to me. I like the way the bird moves. I like the photorealistic movement of Zazu specifically better, I think. Just for some reason, I just appreciate the bird movements. And Zazu in this one, like, because he looked so much like a real bird, I was actually surprisingly concerned for him sometimes because when he looks like a real bird and he's not like a cartoon that's going to squash and stretch and, you know, you can do anything to him, it looks like he could get eaten. And there's several situations where he flies in, you know, to save the day and you're just like, no, Zazu, you are a real bird, you would die. So at least there was that. The movie made me care about Zazu. Not really anyone else, but Zazu. So they go to the elephant graveyard, and there is Shenzi and her hyenas, and I turned to my friend who was watching it with me, and I said, I see they're being photorealistic, but not so photorealistic as they will animate the female hyena's large mock penis. Because they have those. Look it up. I do appreciate that Shenzi is now the unequivocal leader of this group of hyenas because in hyena society they are female dominated. The females are larger. The females are in charge. The females have giant swinging dicks. I'm not kidding, look it up. So I appreciated Shenzi and what they were doing with her character, although that was kind of to the detriment of the other hyenas. I didn't like the Bonsai Ed pair. They were obnoxious and I kind of wish they were not there. Be Prepared, the sort of spoken word poem to music, Be Prepared. I understand why they had to do that because it's not photorealistic for hyenas to go goose stepping, you know. And I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would, but I was still like, what is this shit? Idris Elba auto-tuned all to shit, get out of here with this. Then we go, obviously, to the Stampede, and that music, that yona 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 yona, that stress music, like, because that scene is so good in the original, my adrenaline like went up and I got goosebumps just hearing that music. And also that scene is really good in the stage musical. And so I was sort of preconditioned to be like, once I got stepped back from it and like got the, like, let the music wash over me, I was like, I don't feel anything about this stampede. I don't know why, but I just wasn't terribly concerned for little Simba. He was very cute hiding behind that rock, and I was like, oh, hunker down, kitty. But, like, I wasn't super concerned. And also, when the wildebeests are not, like, 2D animated and they're realistic, I find myself going, how big is this herd? Is every wildebeest in the savannah running down this gorge? How long did the hyenas spend gathering this enormous stampede of wildebeest? You know, in the original, it's like, oh, they're just like water almost. You don't even think about how big is this herd because they're just animated. But now you're like, they look real, and you're like, wait a minute. I appreciate, again, my appreciation of the photorealism. When Mufasa is falling from the cliff, he starts to turn to right himself. And, like, that was a cool touch. I actually liked that he was starting to turn, because cats, when they fall, even big cats, they turn to land on their feet. And obviously that didn't really happen in the original. He just kind of fell like, no, land on your feet, Mufasa. It didn't save him, but, you know. It was a touch that I noticed. I see you, creators, in your photorealism. I think it was probably a bad choice, but I see you. Hyenas chase Simba. Simba gets away. We all know that. Walks across the desert. Little baby cub somehow doesn't die of dehydration. And then he's found by Timon and Pumbaa, who a lot of people say are their favorite part of the movie. And they were pretty good. They were even more married in this than they were in the original. Like, it was definitely like, yes, this meerkat and this warthog are husbands. Deal with it. They're going to raise this lion cub together. It's going to be beautiful. Simba survives on grubs, becomes adult, gets a new singing voice, and then Nala shows back up. And I want to talk a little bit about this. Because of their desire to be so realistic, the way that lions fight and wrestle was more accurate to the way that lions fight and wrestle in real life, and as a result, we didn't have the Nala-Simba flip pin thing. They get past it in this scene by having Nala have a certain way of just like holding his head down with her paw, but it was to the detriment of this because that was the way that Simba kills Scar at the end in the original. So we'll get to that, I think. We'll talk about that and why that didn't work out. But also, somebody had mentioned that the Simba-Nala recognition moment went really fast, and I agree. Like, in the original, she pins him, and they're both like, for a second, they're both just like, what just happened? What's going on? And then they slowly, it takes them a beat to realize who the other one is. And in this one, she pins his head, and he's just like, Nala! And she's like, Simba! And whoa! You know, like, you're the only other male lion that could exist. Speaking of which, I forgot to mention, again, because of the photorealism, it just, my brain picks up on this stuff more because I love nature and nature shows and stuff. So when in the beginning, when Simba went to go wake his dad up and Mufasa's laying in this cave just full of lionesses, and I'm like, he is fucking all of them. All of them. Like, in the animated one, it's a lot easier to just pretend, like, or not think about it, you know? But when it's photorealistic and everything's so realistic, you're like, no, Mufasa's fucking all of them. And then we have Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And again, because we are photorealistic, my horrible brain is like, you know, oh, Nala and Simba are like rolling around, and I'm just waiting for him to grab her by the back of the neck and start a humping. And lions don't mess around when it comes to sex. They fuck so many times. They have marathon sex. I'm not kidding, look that up as well. Another side note about photorealism while I'm thinking of it, again, we're very scattered. I don't think that kids in the audience were terribly into it. I think they found it kind of boring. Like, some of the kids around me were into it. Okay, we had basically a full house. But some of them, you could tell, were just bored. They were getting up and rearranging themselves, and they ran into popcorn, and they're just, like, bored. Because it's like a nature special with talking lions. It doesn't look enticing to young eyes. It just doesn't. Like, okay, maybe my young eyes, because I was a weirdo and I watched nature documentaries about lions fucking, but most kids, not that. And they were getting bored. And I imagine that really this movie is made for people like me who love The Lion King. It's not even made for kids. Disney just wants my money, and guess what? They got it. Alright, so Nala's there, and she's like, come back with me. Oh, we do have a couple of scenes with Scar and Sarabi. I also am sad that they didn't go with any of the music from the musical in this, because that would have been really great. There's a beautiful song when Nala is leaving the Pride Lands in the musical. It's like my favorite one, or one of my favorite ones. Scar wants to have Sarabi as his queen. Not accurate to how lions operate, but okay, I guess. Anyway, so Simba has his moment where he's like, who am I? And then Rafiki is there, and Rafiki is like barely been a character. He really doesn't have any character in this, which is so sad. Rafiki in the stage musical was like one of my favorite characters. Totally a breakout. I was like, I fucking love Rafiki in this. But Rafiki in this movie was a big old dud for me. He finds Simba, shows him his reflection, doesn't hit him with a stick. The entire message of the past can't hurt, but you can either run from it or learn from it. Completely gone. Lost forever. But Simba goes back to the Pride Lands, and Timon and Pumbaa follow him because they're the adorable comic relief. By the way, Timon's little meerkat feet, his little meerkat hands, when he's like sitting on Pumbaa's back and he's got his hands on Pumbaa's head, and I'm just like, those are so cute. His little meerkat feet. They're so cute. Baby Pumbaa, when they were singing the song and there's Baby Pumbaa, like, me and my friend were both like, oh, he's just a little stripy warthog baby, and he was so cute. I keep getting off track. Simba, Nala, back to the Pride Lands, everything's a disaster, plague, famine, blah, blah, blah. And they go and they confront Scar, and it's basically just beat for beat the way it ended in the original, except for Nala gets a moment with Shenzi, because revenge, because Shenzi wants to kill Nala for some reason. Even though I don't think she even really acknowledged that Nala existed earlier. She was into killing Simba. But I don't know, I didn't know that she cared about Nala. But I guess she does. Simba fights Scar. Scar admits that he killed Mufasa. Fighty, and they fight and they fight and they fight. And then, now here's the biggest problem with not having the Nala flip thing. The fight felt like it didn't have a climax. It just ended. So Simba's fighting Scar, and he's fighting Scar, and I'm like, okay, this is intense. Oh, look at these lions fighting the way that lions do, throwing their big weight around, knocking each other down, that kind of thing. But then Scar just fell, and it was over, and I was like, what? Wait, what? Rafiki decides to join the fight, just like in the movie, but like Rafiki has not had his walking stick this entire time. And he goes to his tree, and he pulls this stick out, and he's got this look, he's like, it's time for my ass whooping stick. I think it's more effective if he uses it as a cane the rest of the time, and then he also uses it to kick ass, versus like he just suddenly has this stick. But I guess real whatever kind of monkey or ape Rafiki is don't use walking sticks, so he can't have it until it's time to whoop ass. So then why not just have him come to help fight and just pick up a random stick and start whooping ass with it? The Pumbaa deciding to fight thing was just as awkward as in the original. Pumbaa is such like a sweetheart, a gentle soul, that giving him a reason to like turn around and fight is always awkward. But in the first one, it was like slapstick. In this one, he was just like, the hyenas called him Tubby, and for some reason that was a problem, and he's like, I stand up to bullies, and he starts kicking their asses. Let me rewrite this scene. Pumbaa gets backed into a corner, he's really in trouble, and he like realizes that he's about to die. He has been in an I am about to die situation a couple times in his life, and he's always run, he's always cowered, but maybe this time he decides, maybe he even sees Timon across the room being threatened by one other hyena. And Pumbaa finally decides, no, I have tusks for a reason, and he just charges in. And like, we can still make it funny, and Timon can be like, oh, do you get that out of your system? And Pumbaa's like, yeah, I enjoyed it way too much. Or like later they're like, these are way more fun than bowling for buzzards, or something like that. We don't actually see any murder, but he's a warthog and he has tusks, so he probably gored somebody. Simba becomes king. Pride lands are restored. Adorable baby Floofer is lifted into the air, and it's like, Rawr! And that's the movie. I have seen it now. I will probably never see it again. I mean, what did you expect? What did any of us expect? It's another Disney live action fest. It's definitely on the bottom of my ranking of like the original movie and the musical. Far down on the bottom, all the way on the floor. It's not in the basement, but it's on the floor. Those were my thoughts. Have you guys gone to see the new Lion King movie? Are you going to? Are you boycotting it? Because Disney, you need to stop. I don't blame you if you're boycotting it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this super random, rambly, casual couch review of the Lion King live action. Don't forget that I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking. And if you liked what you saw here but wish it was higher quality, you can support me on Patreon, where all your donations go towards getting me better equipment. Plus, you get access to all kinds of content that is not seen here on the regular channel, including like stuff that I cut out of videos, like rambles and stuff like that I cut out of other videos, so that's exciting. So go check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye! Alright everyone, it's that time again. It's time to thank my illustrious patrons of the month: Lennox, Amanda, Thelia, Jenny, Joseph, Kim, Lisa, Sabby Panda, Sam, and Sarah. Thank you all so much for your support. It means the world to me.